everyone. Welcome back to the Brad Lomax podcast. I'm your host, Bisa, and I've got a great episode for you all today. As you know, if you were here last week, I've started a series doing a deep dive into history, Black history, one of my favorite subjects, and I'm going to talk about people from different parts of our community over the next few weeks. And last week, I turned the focus to some great women in history, and now today, I'm going to talk about disability activists in our community who did and are doing big things for people living with disabilities in the Black community. So without further ado, let's get into it. And now it's time for the upliftment segment of the show. This is the segment where I share a quote that I love and that inspires me and that I hope will inspire you, and one that also ties in with today's theme. And today's quote comes from a doctor, a PhD in education by the name of Dr. Yvette Peggs. And here is her quote. The quote is, "It's important to understand that disability is a natural part of the human experience and that people with disabilities deserve equal rights, opportunities, and respect. I wish people outside the disability community understood the significance of inclusive practices and the value of diverse perspectives in all aspects of life." Now, I think that quote says so many great things. It speaks to the idea that we all need to look around and be aware of people who are similar to us, but also have significant differences that impact how they move through the world, and that we should all be cognizant of that, and the fact that creating more inclusive and diverse spaces where all voices are heard and all people can participate is beneficial to us all. Of course, like as I've said here on the show before, the Black community is not a monolith. Of being aware of how we're similar and also different, while being able to unify and work together across those differences, build bridges, across those differences is so important. I think that quote speaks to all of that and also raises awareness to the fact that disability is something that can impact all of us, and actually does often as we get older. Even if you live your whole life as a person, healthy and fully capable person, quote unquote normative as far as your abilities. As you get older, you might start to lose your hearing, your eyesight, you get weaker. And even though we don't call it that when people get older, often people as they move into older age tend to have more physical challenges and even cognitive ones that could be categorized as disabilities. And I think the fact that we don't acknowledge that makes it easy to think that disabilities are something over there that affect other people if you aren't directly impacted or somebody you love isn't directly impacted. But all of us at some point, unless we're very, very lucky, and that I think is a relatively small percentage of folks, will be impacted by some form of challenge, physical challenge or mental challenge as we age, which makes disability very much part of the human experience for the vast majority of people on this planet. So I think those of us who aren't impacted by it now need to keep that in mind and be more aware and more thoughtful about the challenges and the impact of not having inclusive spaces for people who are living with disabilities. And I think that code speaks to all those ideas, and that's why I loved it and shared it with you. And I'm going to read it one more time to make sure that you remember it as we go. So again, from Dr. Yvette Peggs, here it is. "It's important to understand that disability is a natural part of the human experience and that people with disabilities deserve equal rights, opportunities, and respect. I wish people outside the disability community understood the significance of inclusive practices and the value of diverse perspectives in all aspects of life." And now it's time for the Black History Moment. And today I'm going to share the stories of 4 great disability activists from around the world who don't get enough shine. All of us should know their histories, and I'm doing my part to spread the word, and I hope you'll spread the word too once you learn about them here. So, first up, gentleman by the name of Brad Lomax. Now, Brad Lomax was born on September 13th of 1950 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And growing up in his family, they were very aware of the challenges faced by African Americans. So he first encountered those harsh realities at the age of 13 when he took a trip to Alabama. This experience deeply impacted him and set the stage for his future activism. After graduating from Benjamin Franklin High School in 1968, Lomax initially planned to join the military. However, witnessing the discrimination faced by African American soldiers during the Vietnam War prompted him to attend Howard University instead. In that same year, Lomax was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, a condition which dramatically changed his life. He began using a wheelchair, but often chose to walk when he could. The disease brought physical challenges, including days when he struggled to move. Yet, despite his condition, Lomax was determined to advocate for those who had similar struggles, especially as he noticed the lack of accessibility in public spaces. In 1969, he became a founding member of the Washington, D.C. chapter of the Black Panther Party, and he aligned himself with a movement dedicated to fighting racial injustice and advocating for marginalized communities. Lomax played an essential role in organizing the 1972 African Liberation Day demonstration at the National Mall, which aimed to draw attention to the struggles of African nations seeking independence. His commitment to community health led to the establishment of the Washington, D.C. Black Panther Party Free Health Clinic, which served as a vital resource for those in need. Lomax's activism took on a new dimension when he moved to Oakland, California in 1973. Struggling to use public transportation due to his disability highlighted the systemic barriers faced by people with disabilities. An incident where his brother had to lift him from his wheelchair onto a bus seat made it clear that more needed to be done. This experience motivated him to become involved in the disability rights movement. In 1974, he became the public relations coordinator for the George Jackson Clinic and reached out to Ed Roberts, director of the Berkeley Center for Independent Living, CIL, suggesting the creation of a new center in East Oakland in partnership with the Black Panther Party. Unfortunately, this initiative was short-lived due to limited support from both organizations. A significant turning point in Lomax's activism came in 1977 when he participated in the historic 504 sit-in at the San Francisco Federal Building. This protest aimed at compelling the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare, HUE, to enforce Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973, which prohibited discrimination against individuals with disabilities. Lomax encouraged fellow Black Panthers to provide meals and supplies for the protesters, demonstrating solidarity between the racial and disability rights movements. After sustained efforts, HUE Secretary Joseph A. Califano Jr. eventually signed the regulations on April 28, 1977. Lomax passed away on August 28, 1984 in Sacramento due to complications from multiple sclerosis, but his legacy lives on. In 2020, he was featured in the documentary Crip Camp, which highlighted the intersection of disability rights and social justice movements. Additionally, the New York Times recognized him in their overlooked obituary series, ensuring his contribution to activism would not be forgotten. And that's the story of Brad Lomax. I strongly suggest you look him up online to learn more about him and his great works. Now, the second person I'd like to tell you all about is Sarah Jama. Now, Sarah Jama is a 30-something Somali Canadian woman who is a disability activist and also serves as the MP for Hamilton Centre here in Ontario, Canada. She was born with cerebral palsy and uses a walker or wheelchair for mobility and is known for her passionate advocacy and ability to connect with her community. She's deeply committed to advocating for marginalized communities, and her journey began at McMaster University, where she pursued a degree in social sciences and advocated for the rights of disabled students, which laid the groundwork for her activism today. Sarah's experiences with CP, or cerebral palsy, shaped her worldview and instilled in her a profound understanding of the challenges faced by individuals with disabilities. This personal connection to her work propelled her to write on disability justice issues in magazines like Rebel Youth, and in 2016 she served as the Ontario Director for the National Educational Association of Disabled Students. Her articles not only raised awareness, but also educated readers about the importance of inclusion and policy reform. In 2018, Sarah was a co-founder of the Disability Justice Network of Ontario, an organization that aimed to address systemic inequalities and promote inclusive policies. She is also a founding board member of the Hamilton Transit Riders Union and has worked with numerous organizations in Hamilton, including the Hamilton Center for Civic Inclusion. In February 2021, she appeared before the Senate of Canada's Legal and Constitutional Affairs Committee to argue against the proposed Bill C-7, which she said made euthanasia more accessible for people with mental health disabilities rather than providing mental health support. And in the same year, she was arrested by the police in Bisa Park in central Hamilton at a protest against homeless encampment evictions in the city. She was charged with obstructing police and assaulting a police officer, but the charges were withdrawn. In March 2023, Sarah was elected as the MPP, that's Member of Parliament for Hamilton Centre, and on October 3rd, 2023, following the 2023 municipal elections in Hamilton, she announced her plans to run for the leadership of the Ontario New Democratic Party, the NDP. However, soon after, she was removed from the NDP caucus and censured by the entire legislature for comments regarding the Israel-Palestine conflict and the events that happened in October 7th in Israel. Despite this, she continues to clearly demonstrate her commitment to social justice issues by speaking about and tackling issues that affect community members who are often silenced. Issues like the need for more equitable educational environments to ensure that all students have access to necessary resources and support, and the impact the expansion of Canada's medical assistance in dying or MAID laws have on people who are disabled and racialized. Notably, due to her grassroots approach, focus on positive social change, and popularity in her community, it was recently reported that the NDP Riding Association in Hamilton Centre wants Jama back as their candidate, so she may not be running as an independent in Parliament for very long. Sarah Jama is truly a force to be reckoned with, and I suspect we'll be hearing about her for years to come. Now, the third person I'd like to tell you all about is a man by the name of Basiru Ba. He's a 30-year-old disability activist who hails from Freetown, Sierra Leone, and he is the founder and executive director of the Youth and Children in Support of Sustainable Development Goals organization, which is part of the UN, a universal call to action to end poverty, protect the planet, and improve the lives and prospects of everyone, everywhere. Basiru's passion for his work is informed by his own journey. Growing up with a visual impairment, he faced significant challenges, particularly regarding access to education. He had to fight for the resources he needed in school, and this reality led him to his advocacy work. Basiru is committed to ensuring that the rights of all individuals, especially those with disabilities, are recognized. To that end, he has worked in a citizenship and political participation program led by Sight Savers, funded by Irish Aid, and campaigned on a global platform, leading efforts to advocate for the Sustainable Development Goals be translated into Braille, in order to empower individuals by ensuring they understand the initiatives designed to enhance their lives. Basiru believes that raising awareness is essential for dismantling barriers. Through workshops and community outreach programs, he educated both individuals and institutions about inclusivity and accessibility. Basiru advocates for leveraging technology to improve access to information for people with disabilities, whether through accessible websites or mobile applications. In his vision for a more inclusive future, Basiru sees a world where everyone, regardless of ability, can participate fully in society. As he continues his work, Basiru remains hopeful that together we can overcome the challenges that people with disabilities face and create a better future for all. So if you haven't heard about Basiru, I suggest you look him up and other African disability rights activists up as well, so you learn more about what is being done to ensure that people around the world, like even around the world, are getting the resources they need to live full and healthy lives. Now, the fourth person I'd like to tell you all about is Danielle Orelua Jinidu. She's a content creator, disability advocate, and TEDx speaker. Born with sickle cell anemia, a condition that has shaped her existence since the tender age of 5, Danielle has spent much of her life navigating the complexities of a chronic illness. Her early experiences included frequent hospitalizations, where she encountered not only the physical challenges of her illness, but also the social misconceptions surrounding it. Despite the obstacles, she emerged as a beacon of hope and change. From a young age, Danielle was determined to challenge the narratives that often surrounded her condition. Her mother affectionately dubbed her the Defender of the Universe, a title that reflected her unwavering spirit and passion for justice. As she grew up, she faced skepticism within the educational system where teachers frequently doubted her potential due to her disability. Rather than succumb to these doubts, she harnessed her voice and became a fierce advocate for herself and others in the sickle cell community. In 2019, Danielle's journey took a transformational turn when she delivered her powerful TEDx talk called The Big Black Blood Issue. If you haven't seen that video, you need to look it up on YouTube. It's amazing. In this groundbreaking address, she illuminated the critical issues facing those with sickle cell anemia, including the dire need for blood donations within the Black community and the racial biases embedded in healthcare systems. Her words resonated deeply with many people, shedding light on a condition that is often shrouded in stigma and silence. The talk not only raised awareness, but positioned Danielle as a leading voice in the disability advocacy space. Beyond her advocacy work, Danielle embraced her passion for fashion. She became recognized as a minimal style guru, blending elegance with an edgy flair. Her unique personal style captivated her loyal followers on social media, where she shared effortless styling tips and beauty content infused with her signature touch. Through her platforms, Danielle aims to inspire others, especially Black disabled women, to embrace their identities and thrive despite societal barriers. In 2020, she graduated with a law degree from the University of Warwick. Danielle's academic journey is marked by determination and purpose. She envisions a future in human rights law where she can continue to advocate for marginalized communities. Her commitment to social justice is evident in her partnership with organizations in the UK like the NHS Blood Donation Team, where she actively supports campaigns to encourage blood donations among Black individuals, a vital resource for those living with sickle cell anemia. Danielle's impact extends beyond social media and academia. She has made appearances on platforms like ITV News and spoken at high-profile events hosted by Google and Facebook, where she further advocated for sickle cell awareness. Her ability to navigate these spaces while remaining true to her identity exemplifies her role as a trailblazer. As Danielle continues her journey, she remains steadfast in her mission to empower others. She believes in equipping individuals with the tools for self-advocacy, ensuring that their voices are heard in conversations about disability and health. Danielle's life story is one of defiance against stereotypes and limitations, proving that with courage and conviction, one can challenge societal norms and inspire change. Danielle Oriolua Janedo is more than just a content creator or advocate. She is a symbol of resilience and empowerment. Through her work, she shows the world that Black disabled women are worthy of recognition and respect, shining brightly in a world that often seeks to dim their light. Danielle is a beast. She is amazing at what she does. And if you've never heard about her, again, I urge you to go and look her up and definitely watch her TEDx talk. It is empowering and impactful and definitely something we can all learn more about. Sickle cell anemia is something we need to shine a spotlight in our community for sure. Okay, I hope you enjoyed today's show because we're at the end. It was chock full of lots of information, so I hope you learned something just like I did as I was doing the research for this episode. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Till then, take care. Bye.